Good afternoon, everyone. I, Anju, on behalf of NEN and Wadhwani Foundation, would like to invite you all for this webinar and also introduce our expert, Mr. Mnoj Shah. Mr. Mnoj Shah, a finance professional by education with a strong business creation, strategy and scaling up experience of 15 years, having an established track record of successfully growing an enterprise value. Mnoj is passionate about enterprising and loves partnering with the firms to scale up and grow businesses. Mnoj came on board of PlugHR few months back, but he knew PlugHR from last 4 years. In his last venture of health and fitness, he had hired PlugHR to set up his HR department. He was a client CEO, then helped as a strategy advisor, and now finally as COO. Before I hand over the floor to Mnoj, a quick note to all our attendees. You will all be on mute. You may ask questions by typing in the panel provided. Our expert will answer the questions after his presentation. Over to you, Mnoj.
Yeah, thank you, Anju, and thank you, NEN, for providing this platform. I love to always interact with the entrepreneurs because you just don't share, but you learn so much and new perspectives that you carry back home, and that's exciting for us. Today, what we are going to talk about is HR for startups, right? And the format is that I have a couple of my thoughts, which I will ponder over, and then that is about 20-25 minutes, and then we'll take up specific questions that you may have. Okay, so here we go. So what is HR? When we say HR, it's all about the people, and people, because their emotions and it's always difficult to handle. That's what people feel. So you should have the to have the readiness for facing, and most enterprises today are mainly service organizations which is growing today. So people become all the more very important asset for the organization, and that's why so much crucial it becomes to handle your HR well. So HR for startups, my first thing would be, as a startup, you don't need an HR. So you may wonder that why we are here, that if you don't need an HR. Yes, I mean it, because as a startup, as an entrepreneur, whatever cash you have should chase either customers, markets, or products, and support function like HR comes much later. But when I say you don't need HR, means you don't need an HR department. But what you need in early days of entrepreneurship is you need an HR thought leadership. And when I say HR thought leadership means what? So we'll come to that in a moment. But what we see is that our take on HR is in early days when you start up. So it's an entrepreneur who shapes HR. Okay, and in a growth phase, it is HR who shapes your enterprise. So that's our take on HR. You must be wondering, so again, when you say entrepreneur shapes HR, that means one more role you will have to play. Maybe you'll have to wear one more hat. But so that's the reason you are called entrepreneur, right? So you are ready for any challenges, and HR would become one, and you may be able to handle it. But what happens is it is very crucial in the early days, because it is entrepreneur who shapes the entire organization. So they are responsible, or rather they should take keen interest in shaping the HR as well, because you may not need an HR professional as such in the beginning to go about. Now this may not be way forward within the companies who are already venture funded, because we have a lot of venture funded companies also where we run end-to-end HR department. They hire us even before 2 quarters or 3 quarters before their operation begins. So we have so many such cases. So while this may not be true for a funded companies, for a funded companies you already have a fund in place, you already have a business plan in place. So it would be good that you have an HR early, so you can really focus on the growth. But for the startups who has not been funded and you are bootstrapping and things like that, you guys are you should take up HR onto yourself for some time till you get into the growth phase. Now, in HR early days, when we say shapers, so we have designed, 8 shapers in the early days, which would design your HR. It is the most critical 8 things that you would need to do for shaping up and taking up of mental of resource. And the first one is team building. Okay, I cannot enough emphasize on this because since it is the most crucial of all the shapers that we are going to talk about. Early on, it's about the right team, right? Because everything is hazy, including your idea, your business plan, your growth plan, how would you ultimately make money, etc. Everything is not clear. So at least in all this dynamic environment, only one thing that stability you would need in terms of is that you require a stable, committed, versatile and complementing team. And that's very, very important to begin with, Now, how do you get them, right? So that's a $1 million question, So there are no set rules to give. My example, as Anju already mentioned that I was a client CEO. I had hired my PlugHR as my HR in my last chain of fitness clubs before I sold last year to Go Gym International. Okay, and when I sold this business, then Prashant, who was the founder of PlugHR, latched on to me, and it took me 1 year to come on board, but he kept convincing me about vision and the stuff that we can do in HR, and so you can get people from anywhere, so there are no pickup joints where you can get a co-founders or you can get a wannabe team members, which you can pick it up. So last time I was talking to somebody and he told me that Manoj, my VC gave me my co-founder. They went to venture capitalist and they connected to somebody who became then their co-founder, and the HR professional who was handling their job, they connected him to VC who ultimately funded their business, right? So so you get people from everywhere, so there are no set rules for that, but for your core team member, what you should do is, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, your antenna should always be catching signal who's right for you and what is the kind of people that you will require for this business to grow, so that whenever you meet up or something, you keep convincing to come on their board. And very, very important is there are a couple of crucial things as a core team member you should remember. So the first thing is people should not come to you or join your business for money. Okay, he should come. Of course you don't have money as a startup, so I'm sure that these guys are not going to join you for money. But what I mean is they should be very, very clear that they are coming on for the venture, for the idea that you have. They want to come for creating something which is phenomenal. They have to come out of passion and ready to wait to start seeing the money maybe over a period of time. But the ultimate decision that drive to come on and join you should not be money, but should be other things like the idea, the business plan, and doing something sizable with you. When you look at the team or you look at the co-founder, or when you are looking at the core team members, remember that you should, right? So when I say different, you means what? So if core team agrees on almost everything that you present to them, then your business is, trust me, your business is going to be doomed, because you don't have a versatile team who has got a different opinions, and if you all have the same opinion, then I guess some of them are then you should have only one out of that. But look at the team which have got a complementing capability. Say for example, if you have a good idea, you have a selling and a networking skills, your co-founder or core team member somebody should have an execution champion, somebody should be great at understanding finance and people management. So the good idea to check would be as a team capabilities that a business would need to succeed. That would be a good check to see whether you have a kind of a team which is there, which is versatile, which is dynamic, which is passionate about it. Team, not just about the team building. Coming to the next is next shaper, so culture forming. It's best time to define things early on and get your acts together rather than going for a huge change management exercise later on. So what's culture? So I guess it's entrepreneurs' conduct, behavior, beliefs that will take a shape of a culture of an organization. And why it is important to work on this early on, since we believe that because if you take a seesaw, so on one side it would be culture and a value, and on the other side of the seesaw would be basically the rules, right? And the more you are culturally rich as an organization, the lesser would be the rules that you need to form. Okay, if you are more rule driven, then you'll have to define probably everything. You look at any government organization or a large corporate, very rule ridden, right? So what happens is they struggle to scale up with agility. They basically take time to make decisions, and today's market is all about competition. The guy who moves quick is the guy who will succeed ultimately. And so agility is very important, and that's why most of the large corporates are setting up business within business units. So those business units are absolutely independent in doing their business. So what happens is decision could be faster, and they have an agility of a smaller company which they can then compete with. That's why it is very important that early on taken a mantle of the culture forming. And when I say culture forming, so just to give you an example, in PlugHR we have 1 beliefs and 5 values, right? And values are nothing but the culture builders, right? And so one of the value is fast, flexible, effective. And when I say fast, flexible, effective, that is the entire model of PlugHR is very quick. We get into the company and we boot up HR department. We have got a knowledge base in terms of knowledge model called PHA. Which has got the processes, the policies, and knowledge frameworks. So what a person does is project manager goes into the organization and basically executes that, does the last mile customization. So they already have a first cut to work with. That's why it becomes fast. Also, when I say fast means, so people are so much aligned to the values that, when we pitch up to any client, I don't need to tell my sales team, hey, look, you need to send a proposal within 24 hours of meeting the prospect. I don't need to define this. Why I don't need to define this? Because if people are culturally aligned with you, okay, no matter what, they will be quick in sending the proposal. And as an early entrepreneur, you do not have time to set all rules and see somebody who does stuff like that. So if the entire team is aligned in terms of the culture that it is fast, flexible, effective, you need to move quick, and so that's how it moves. And you don't need to look at the forming the rules. Also, say for example, you in the family, right? So when we were small, previously our dad or mom used to say, okay, look, you better come, don't remain outside at late nights, right? So you come listen. So they didn't form the rules, but once you started breaking up, they would put a rule, okay, boss, you need to be in your home by 8 o'clock, right? So So that's what it is, so culture forming, look at your family, you will know how it is, so there are defined rules, right? That's form value system, right? And there are no set rules in black and white. They would say, okay, this is you are allowed to do, and this is you are not allowed to do. Over a period of time, you pick it up, and that's what it is for with the culture forming also, and that's pretty much similar with an organization building, which is very important early on to take up a mantle of culture forming, because people would look at an entrepreneur and people would imitate him. So you are under a constant watch. So whatever culture you want to form, or whatever expectations you have from your team members, better behave in a manner that you expect things from them, right? Because once demonstration is the best learning, right? So they pick it up from you rather than telling them what to do, right? Third thing, so third thing is passion play. I don't need to tell you these guys, because since the only personal asset, I'm sure only personal asset as an entrepreneur you would have is a passion play, right? So do what you absolutely believe in. Passion would come automatically, right? So it's very important that whatever you are doing, whatever idea you are working, whatever business you are working in, so convince yourself first absolutely, then jump into it. So because once you are absolutely 100% sure about your idea, passion would just come automatically. You don't need to do anything about it, and passion, mind you, is a very contagious disease. It travels like a viral, right? So whether you are pitching a business plan to a VC or selling a job to a prospective team member, both almost like do not know much about your business, because the ultimate driver for them to invest in you or work with you would be that they will figure out what you are doing and where you are going, and are you passionate about it, so that's what is going to be their decision driver. You should have an absolutely clear idea and committed towards the dream that you want to make. So passion would come automatically. And trust me, early on it's only passion, since the only thing that you have, right? So if you have, then might as well display it without any restriction, because it won't have any side effects for sure, but it's a contagious, you'll be able to network and get into the groove lot many people with your passion play. And don't bother about anything, just understand people don't join your business plan, but they join because you are passionate about what you are doing. Since the business plan may change at every corner of the road once you start the journey, right? But your beliefs and destinations would remain same irrespective of the business plan or the strategy that you do. And whether investor or a team member looks at that, so that's very important. The next shaper is personal values is equal to company values, right? And while talking about the culture, I did mention that how do you actually form a culture? Okay, culture is formed through the values. Values are known as the culture pillars, right? And so that's how you basically uh, uh, you know you'll have to work on the values, and early on if you are able to define it, then all the more good, because it is very easy then to align people. Culture will give you that edge to move quick with agility and align people without getting into detail, nitty-gritty. And many a times when we start our HR engagements, the CEO would tell us that, okay, they've got an unending list of policies to be implemented. But trust me, it's waste, because we always advise CEOs and entrepreneurs, so have the minimum rules, but you execute, but you adhere to these rules 100%. Your people are watching you, And early on, what is important to have few rules, uh, uh, because if you have a handful of them, then you are also going to be adhering to that. So better have only a few of them so you can easily follow them. And demonstration is the best teacher. So people watch you as an entrepreneur. So the values which you have really forms the company value. You cannot have a different values at home. You will have a different values, and once you enter into the gate of the company, you will start wearing some different values. There cannot be a split personality, right? So it is very important when you are forming a company values. Most of the guys, outsource this job, right? There are people who outsource this job, that okay, I want a vision and value for my website, so kindly form one and give. It's an absolute waste, right? So company values uh, is for the whole world, but for the important is that values should appeal to you first before communicating to the entire world. Because if these values, if these words, however stupid, easy or difficult it may be, it should, at the end of the day, it should appeal you, right? It should hit you, it should give a kick, right? So that's what you need to form a value for, not just a fancy statements to be painted on a website. It's an absolute waste, right? So you form a value which you believe in, so whatever is the personal value systems, have the same values as a company, just modulate towards the company, because it's absolutely important that you are in sync with the values, because people are watching you. They will imitate you. They will take things from you. They may not understand what you say to them at times, but they will surely understand how you behave and what is your conduct, and they are going to pick it up from there, right? So it is very important that there should not be a mismatch between personal values and company values. It's just not possible. The next shaper is, so a few rules but demonstrate. So I already spoke about this, right? So you should have a few rules, right? And because you are going to adhere to that rule, so better have a handful of rules. And but you should be absolutely on it, bang on. You have few, but you demonstrate, because that's the way a company would progress. That is the way to align people towards whatever rules or the policies that you have in a company. The next shaper, very, very important, absolutely important, flexibility. Have a human approach, right? So when I say flexibility, in today's fast-changing world, and the focus is moving to the consumer experience, right? And people are the most valuable assets as of today. And if they are valuable, they move into the category of fragile, that is handled with care item, right? And that's why all the more HR becomes so much important, right? Uh, so treat people with a great respect. Also understand that he or she is a mother or a father. They are a husband or a wife. They are somebody's son or somebody's daughter also. So have a human approach, because today, in today's world, after 10 years, the talent crunch is going to be so much that virtually every guy would have two jobs in hand. Every idiot would be employed. Trust me. And there has to be a huge scarcity of people out there. So all the more it becomes a very, very challenging for you to to attract them, because there will be so much of a competition attracting. Imagine, every guy would have two jobs, right? So how you are going to compete with them? So only way you compete with them is really take good care of them and have a human approach. So gone are the days when you used to drive people like cattle, right? So these are not the days. So whatever may be the situation, or we are going through, you should have a human approach. So because if they have a problem, if they have any medical urgencies, if they have any family functions, you need to take human approach. And though you have to make them accountable, of course, because we are running an organization and we are answerable to somebody, maybe the board or maybe the investor. That's right. But try and create a kind of an uh, atmosphere which is more towards accountability, but also give them a lot flexibility, in terms of the way you want to operate. And also understand, it's not about just because you are entrepreneurs, or we are entrepreneurs rather, and we take all the liberty. When you want to work, we work, and when we feel it's too much, we just leave it. We work with our time, so we have so much of a flexibility. And if uh, just because we are entrepreneurs, we should not use, but so you should extend this to your team members as well, wherever it is possible. I'm not saying that in a factory setup you can have a flexibility in terms of time, right? So, but wherever possible, you should always give flexibility to people, and people need to be taken good care of them. The next shaper is all about so sharing vision and goal, right? So this becomes very, very important, because this is nothing but an alignment, right? So when you hire a person, okay, uh, you displayed so much of a passion about your business, and you sold the job, you had an idea, and the guy came on board, right? And once the guy came on board, you are not talking to your team, or not having even a town hall meet in 1 quarter, right? So these are like motivation hooks, right? Sharing your vision and goal and having a town hall meetings are like motivation hooks. You need to keep on picking it up time and again, so they remain committed, they remain purposeful, and they remain goal oriented. It is very, very important to keep sharing your vision and goal time and again, very clearly, frequently, with audacity to the team members, so they remain sync, they remain aligned with you, they know what you are thinking, they know where the company is progressing. Because trust me, if you do not do this, you may have sold him a job once, right? But that was the first time. But what after that? So that motivation goes down. So it is very, very important that you keep on. Uh, One second. So keep sharing your vision and goal very clearly, frequently, and audacity, and keep people in your loop what you are doing. If you alter the strategy, they should be first one to inform. If you are thinking something else, then it needs to be taken care of. So everybody, team remains committed and aligned towards the goal and the business that you are heading for. So it's very, very important that first time it doesn't help. Most of the time what happens is that since things become difficult and stuff like that, when you are scaling up and growing, then you feel like, okay, I don't have anything to share with my team, because all are bad news. But it's not that, right? So even if it is a bad news, it would make good sense to take people into confidence, so they stay with you longer, and maybe they will give you a few more ideas which you can try. So you can win. Understand, you can win only if the team is together, and they have to be always in sync with you, whatever business is happening. And if business is not moving good, it's not moving good. Your core team members should know that, right? So there's no question, and don't fear that they will run away. If you take care of them, if flexibility is built in, there could be a tough times here or there, but generally, they would stay with you, right? But you need to be transparent for that. So keep sharing your vision and goal with the team. The next and the last shaper is basically give freedom, bring accountability, right? So when I talked about flexibility and all, what happens is that that all is fine, but right, ultimately we need to drive performance, right? And it is very, very important that we give we bring accountability. So every time you don't need to ask question, okay, what time you entered the office, okay? As an entrepreneur, as a CEO, you should be more worried about whether the guy has completed the task given within the time frame or not. That needs to be, that should be the question needs to be asked, and not about what time he reached and stuff like that. So certain cases it becomes important, so you need to drive that too, but your more worry should be bringing and creating a culture of accountability and giving freedom wherever. So many a times I hear all entrepreneurs keep on telling us that we don't get good people, and at times they curse India also, that in India you don't have good managers, and people are not committed, they want leave, they want holiday, this and that. But so all that we hear, right? But also understand that this is the same country where Infosys, Ambani's and Tatas have built a successful business with the same people and in the same age. So maybe we are lacking somewhere, right? So it's not about people, it's about you. How do you treat them, how you are able to extract work from them, how you are able to create a team that wins, and that's what it is. Friends, the next thing is, HR for the growth stage. So when you get into the growth stage, the game changes as far as the HR is concerned. So that's the time when you need a dedicated HR professional team, and that's the time when you all will need that. Okay, and to give you a quick this thing, if you look at us, our take on HR is, so HR simplified. So there are three things that is there in HR. So one is, on the top is the core roles. So what are those core roles in the organization who will help you to achieve your business plan? You need to be absolutely clear, and at the core roles have a team which has a complementing capability to achieve the business plan. So that's what you have to look at, the core roles. When you come down, there are only three things in HR. One is to attract a talent, second is to develop a talent, and third is to retain a talent, right? And this pretty much sums up the entire HR. So for the entrepreneurs who started a business and you feel that HR is something very difficult, it's not, right? It's about only these four things. Understand what are the core roles in the organization, and take care of things where you need to attract, develop, and retain talent, right? The PlugHR, basically, to just give you a brief of us, we run an end-to-end HR solutions for the entrepreneurs, right? So we have developed our own knowledge framework called PH8, and we take up the company's HR department and run to run. So we become pretty much the head of HR for the company, and it's a play of an online and offline. So our knowledge framework, which is PH8, which you can see on the screen, consists of crucial 8 areas. And if you look at these, of the structure, recruitment, onboarding process, induction, orientation, exit intervention, compensation, policy design, engagement, performance management, training. So if you look at this, this sums up entire 360-degree of HR, right? There can't be anything more than this. We have a pretty much standard, structured framework on which, on this platform, all our clients, operates. So friends, this was it as far as I am concerned. Now you may be wondering that, okay, so I am sure you may feel that, okay, I didn't touch upon the regular HR aspects like strategies to hire or strategies to retain or to people. But trust me, these things would be far more valuable in setting a right HR thought leadership at the top, and operational things. I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. And I leave upon now forum open for questions. So if you have any questions regarding any operating HR matters or any strategic HR matters or anything to do with people management, I can definitely answer it.
Thank you very much, Manoj, for that interesting session. Thank you to all our attendees for participating in the webinar. We are glad that the questions kept coming in, but due to lack of time, we are unable to answer all. Please do send in your feedback and suggestions to us at eclub@nenglobal.org. Also, if you found the session interesting, feel free to blog or post about it. The recorded version of the webinar will be available on our website eclub.nenonline.org by tomorrow. Our next webinar will be held on July 4 from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. by Anirban Bhattacharya of the Painted Sky on using professional social media like LinkedIn for business development. We look forward to your participation. Thank you once again and have a nice evening.